Fuck this shit. Same team, same players, different fucking day. Hello, guys. I come to you a sad mess. Well, not sad, just I don't know how you'd word it. This is, I guess, kind of what we should have expected. I got a little bit carried away pre-season. There's always a cynic in me that just thought this just would have happened. And here we are sitting 15, 20 minutes after the game ended, and I got the score prediction right, just for the wrong team. What do we say about this, honestly? I'm going to start with the team selection, okay? So I'll just start there for you, right? What the hell? I didn't want McTominay in there. Scott McTominay's in there. Mind you, Ronaldo's not in there. He could have been a goal threat from the start. Shaw should not be there. Malacia, I know he didn't play very well at the back end, but I feel like there was not enough mobility. Yeah, sorry guys, it's fucking pain in the ass. This team is an absolute disgrace, and the blame has to go on the manager here somewhat as well. I get the theory. I mean, I was discussing it with the Talk Football guys, but he was going for, I guess, a Prem-proven team. McTominay has never been about it. He never will be about it. He needs to get out of this club. This performance that he put down, appalling. He was hiding. He was trying to Paul Scholes the ball all over the field. This was just a defunct, limp, premature ejaculation performance. Like, I swear their energy was wasted in the build-up. Anything that anyone said about preseason went out the window. And as much as we know that these things are going to happen, it still doesn't help seeing it unfold before your eyes. I mean, what was it? It was like 20 seconds in, and there was already a fucking offensive mistake. This is, I don't know what to say. Like, this lineup here that we see fielded, I get the idea he was going for. And if I'm repeating myself, I apologize. But I get what he was going for. A little bit of a surprise to see Eriksen sort of deployed up the front, but the players never played in the system that Ten Hag is trying to implement. It wasn't until, 60, 70 minutes when we had Donny, we had Eriksen. I don't know why he took Fred off. Fred was probably the best outfield player for United. There was no drive. There was no structure. The whole thing was just a kick around in the backyard where we were playing against someone that's worse than us, and they outstripped us from pillar to post. And this is a team without Cucurella. This is a team without Basuma. They sold two of their best players, and they still ran rampant through us. But they were playing shit as well. I don't know where to go from here. Like, I had so much optimism. Now, yes, it's only game week 1, but next week, what? Brentford, game week 3, Liverpool. Like, it's fucking ridiculous. If this is the level of commitment this team are going to give to this new manager, Ten Hag should walk. Jesse here in the comments. Twisted, I'll just go here through your comments, guys, quickly. True City fan, Patrick, thank you for joining us. This is what I was saying. Bring on Brentford. If we play like this against Brentford, they're gonna pan us, and they're actually a structured team. Hello, Jesse. Good to see you. Impotence FC. They came early. It's like the bed sheets were slaying them down in the field. Post a link. All right, let's see if I know how to do this. Click the invite. Copy to the clipboard. Yeah, pretty sure I can drop it in the comments. Anyone wants to have a chat? Oh, come on. Post a comment. Paste. There we go. I've dropped the link in the comments. I'll see if it's possible to pin it. So if anyone wants to come on and come into the studio for a chat, I'm all for it. So yeah, look, I will allow Jesse his time when he enters the studio. But let's just go through some of the statistics here. Don't ever think that this is going to give an accurate portrayal of the game. United, majority possession, ton of more passes, better passing accuracy, but these statistics, as I've said, it is not indicative of the performance. United were abysmal. And even, the amount of players in the team that usually we see, they'll have a flash of brilliance, or they will, might be able to beat a man. And there were a couple of moments in transitions that we looked okay, but it was a shocking performance, and I am struggling to be eloquent when it comes to this. These guys that have time and again failed, thrown managers under the bus, diverted the blame, they all need to get got. We'll be reasonable though. I'm still fairly optimistic about the season, but the problem is very evident. Ten Hag needs players. It was evident at the back end of the game, as I previously said, that the play was a lot better. Donny came on. Eriksen was playing alongside him. Bruno was thereabouts. Now, I feel that there were too many times in the game where players were out of position and they really just were not adapting to what they need to do. Hang on. I'm just going to go ahead and bring Jesse in here. He might be able to steer this conversation along a bit better. Just hold up a sec.
Yeah, man. How you doing?
Hey, Jesse, how you doing, bro?
Yeah, what a bummer. You see that?
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you, man.
I'm struggling here, man. Like I'm normally I can plow through my words quite well, but this is just it's very flat feeling if you get what I'm saying.
No, it's incredibly disappointing. Like, I mean, obviously you heard my comments. It's a little different live, but what do I have to say? There was nothing there that told me that preseason meant a thing. And that may sound like, oh, well, like preseason doesn't mean anything. No, it does. It does. You want to see a style of play. You want to see the cohesion in the squad.
Yeah.
I think Anthony Martial not being there means that we lose a lot up front. We lose a lot. We lack focus and we don't have an outball. But at the end of the day, what are we really going to be able to say for ourselves? That was abysmal. It was nothing like the Liverpool, where Fulham really, really put pressure on Liverpool. That Brighton didn't put pressure on us.
They didn't.
We just folded.
We were the worst of the two bad bunches. I mean, I was just talking just before about like just looking at these statistics. If anyone that sort of didn't see the game come and have a look, they'd be like, oh, high possession, high amount of chances, but don't get it twisted. Don't get it misconstrued that it was poor from both teams, and it just so happened that Brighton were that fraction more clinical with their opportunities. That was the main difference, because we both look like we're just starting the season without a preseason.
Yeah, and I mean, I believe Brian had a very good preseason. So did United. I mean, where do we move from here? I saw so many poor decisions, and not just from our team, but from Ten Hag. Now Annie kind of hopped in Discord and said, well, everyone's saying Ten Hag out. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying Ten Hag made a lot of bad decisions today. Luke Shaw has not looked up to it entire preseason. I don't care how much Premier League experience he has. I assume that's what he's thinking. I assume he was thinking Maguire, captain, Premier League experience. That's probably the most acceptable of the bad decisions. Then Luke Shaw, Premier League experience. No. Okay. Luke Shaw has to be out. Malacia has to be the starter now. And then McTominay, Premier League experience. All of our midfielders. I don't know. Like, that midfield could have been so different. We looked so much better at the end of the game because we had technicians on the ball, right, Josh? Yeah.
Now, just as an outside the box question, now it's probably doesn't mean anything. But do you think that in any way, shape, or form, Ten Hag might have just been putting out these players to show everyone that they're actually not up to it, and then he's going to go with his own lineup? Do you think there was any sort of slyness in his regard here? Because I mean, I don't think he's that much of a game player. He seems very straight up and down. But I would not, like some managers, just they go, "Hey, I'm going to put a message out." The Glazers were in the crowd. It's like, okay, I'm going to play essentially the same core as there was last year, and show that they're not up to it. Because by the time preseason was in the back end, McTominay wasn't featuring. Luke Shaw wasn't featuring, yet he starts game day one with Shaw, with McTominay, with Maguire, and I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
I mean, to show to show what's his face, Evan Glazer, who was in the box today, he was at the game. Surprisingly, it'd usually be Joel Glazer.
Yeah.
Do I think that he sent us a message? No, absolutely not. I think he played the lineup that he thought would be the right sort of lineup to play for his first home game at Old Trafford during an actual competitive match. I think you need to keep that in mind as much as or we need to keep that in mind as much as we need to keep in mind that he needs to make a statement to the board to say, look, there are some players that we need to bring in. I just think it was a miscalculation, and that's why I think it's fair to level criticism. I don't agree with what people are saying online, but I think there are real aspects of this that we need to look at, and we need to first look at the players, not Ten Hag, not his selection. Even though I'm kind of focusing in on that, I don't mean to do that. We need to focus on the players who are cowardly, who decided today to not play the system that they knew they were supposed to play. The fullbacks were supposed to play high. They were supposed to pin Brighton back. Brighton gave them an excuse today, and they failed at the first. They tripped. Those movies, those clips of Olympic sprinters or Olympic hurdlers who run up and they literally trip over the first hurdle in a competitive match. That's 110%.
See, that's where I'm confused, because it's just maybe I'm just still holding on to a small amount of optimism. I don't know. Okay, I'll word it out, right? So I can understand wanting to play, I guess, the core that is the most experienced, that have played together for so long, but surely he's not so blind as he's been saying in his press conferences and whatever. Surely he's not so blind as to rule out the past, because he would know what sort of opinions the fans have of certain players. He'd know all the publicity. United are there's so much talking points from, like us in fan media, or just the press in general, passed by on the street. Surely there's enough out there for people to be like, okay, this is McTominay, he's not good enough. Maguire, yes, he's a big price tag, but he's also a big liability. Unless there's something from above saying, look, you're going to have to play them in certain percentage of games. And if that's the case, we could be in for a long year. We need reinforcements. We looked better with Donny and Eriksen. Fred should have stayed on, but I think that could be the midfield three moving forward. And you're spot on about Martial. He's severely underrated for his link-up play and being able to actually, beat a man, and to be able to, bring others into play by allowing, those overlapping fullbacks, for example. He can hold the ball up. Now that is drastically missing. Ronaldo is very much a he'll get into space, or he will, he'll pot a shot from wherever he is. So it was very one-dimensional, which also affected the ability to actually play Ten Hag the way he wants to. Yeah, it's frustrating. It's very frustrating. First game week out.
Yes, I'm just putting out something right now.
Yeah, all good, not a problem.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I actually, if you want to go ahead and move on to Twisted's little his next comment there.
Jesse, don't hold back. No, CR7 in the dressing room.
I think maybe that could be a factor, but I think there's a lot of factors. I honestly, what I saw today was cowardice.
Yes,
I saw a lot of cowardice. I saw players who didn't know what they wanted to do on the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a lot of players who probably knew what to do off the ball, and they just decided not to because we have a team stacked full of PTSD of players who know what Ten Hag wants, but aren't going to allow themselves. They don't have it in their psyche to do what Ten Hag wants. Luke Shaw spent. I'm very, very interested in the heat map. We don't need to pull it up right now, but if we were like to go to who scored, see where he's at on the left side. I guarantee he spent around 50% of the time of this game in our half.
Yep.
And it's not good enough. Our fullbacks are meant to be playing in the final third. And you saw a lot of that Delo trying to do that, trying to push up, trying to actually get into the attacking positions. And no, it wasn't great in all places. For the second goal, I believe it was Maguire who came out. He's looking at a center back. I don't know why he's looking at someone who's 60 yards away from him. I have absolutely no clue.
Exactly. And that's just typical.
He rushes towards that center back as the ball passes him. Like it's not that a midfielder made that pass. It was literally someone who's 2-3 yards right of his field of vision, and he rushes towards someone else for no reason, and they play it through.
Yeah,
and then what is it? Martinez is forced to come across, and then
take out the man.
Yeah, he's forced to cover someone else's man. Second one, Fred is like, where is Maguire? Ever. He's always out of the screen when we concede goals. I don't understand how this works. I don't know how it works in his head, and I don't know how it works in the coach's head. I'm honestly starting to suspect that they have to play Maguire. I have no idea why he gets played otherwise. I honestly don't. I don't understand it. Like, it has to do with his price tag.
And that's what I'm thinking. That has to be something that's coming from above. I mean, maybe when, like they were saying that Ten Hag impressed during the interview stage and he interviewed the club back, maybe there was a part of this thing that's like, are there any requirements that I have to follow? And that could have been something. And he's like, okay, we'll just make do with it. We don't know. We don't know the ins and outs because it's not, even though United League like a sieve publicity-wise, it's not like it's as transparent as other things would have been in the past, but the fact remains he is one of the most expensive players in the team. He is the flagship. He is the captain. And unless something drastically changes, I think you're right. In the foreseeable future, that may remain to be the case. I still think that after this match, and I called it in the call, I think he should just be stripped and benched for a performance like that. Just even just like chuck out the poor performers and bring on some youths in the second team, like make a statement, because that was, call it PTSD, but they still need to have some sort of ramifications for the performance they put in. Completely non-existent. Anything pre-season was completely non-existent in this game. And the way Ten Hag has been talking this is that anything less of what he expects is unacceptable. So now, for me, the onus is on the manager to make the changes and to make the players see reason. And if that doesn't happen, well, then, it's just going to be doomed for the rest of the year, especially if it doesn't resonate with them. And you're right, the players are like us as fans. Really, we're all waiting for the other shoe to drop and for something negative to happen, and we're all going to crawl back into the shells that we are. But it is what it is. Actually, I'm just going to go into Twisted's comment here. Scapegoating players is unhealthy, and in the end, in my opinion, the players have to be the ones to go out and perform on the pitch. The manager can't tell them where to go or what to do. As you said, McLaren can't be on the box telling them where to move. It's just one of those.
Yeah.
It's one of those situations. The players are the ones that get told what to do, and it's on them to do it. So, I don't know what you think, Jess.
No, I mean it's unhealthy to scapegoat players if they are performing well, but we have several players who aren't up to pace, and this is where I start getting onto it. So it's Maguire is one thing, he's one thing, but then I'm starting to talk about. I mean, you have Luke Shaw there. Why that is 100% Ten Hag's fault. He should be playing 110%. He should be playing Malacia. He should have been playing Malacia this game. There's absolutely no excuse for it. I don't understand why Malacia isn't playing this game, because he's shown everything to be. He's way more positive in defense and attack, and I don't understand why Luke Shaw would be playing. So is scapegoating players unhealthy? No, not at all, especially when a player is as tragic as Harry Maguire.
Yeah.
And he's your guy. Like, I don't know. You also have to start looking at the fact is Harry Maguire is a loser.
Oh, 100%.
He's been his entire career. Not I'm not saying in life. Like, obviously the guy, whatever. He's a Premier League footballer. That's pretty cool. But he is a perpetual relegation fodder defender. That is who he has been his entire career. And he's still there.
Apart from
look at that heat map. Holy,
that is the okay. My main issue is he's mainly congregated literally in the left midfield and the left back position. You don't see high lines. It's like that would indicate
it goes left to right. So his biggest position is playing at the corner of his own box in both halves. That's not both halves. That's his positioning. He barely plays. So he's either at the halfway line or he's by his own 18-yard box. So he barely plays in offense. And in defense, or no, even in offense, he's still playing in his own half. It's pathetic. It's so bad. It's actually disgusting. Dude, I'm gonna puke. Like, I feel
like no. This is what really, really gets me about this guy too. Like, there are many other players that we can throw salt at, but when he had that, what was it, Shawberto Carlos vein of form, he was incredible, and he shows that he can do it. But why is it that it's someone else coming in to threaten your position that's going to trigger you when you should just be on it 100% of the time? And it's not like he's an unfit guy. Yeah, he always has that little bit of extra belly, and whether it's hamburgers or whatever, but he's just a naturally stocky guy, a la Wayne Rooney, for example. But you can still be immensely fit. Like, he's got a good turn of pace, and he's defensively proficient.
He's technically very good as well. Yeah, he's that's the thing.
Yeah. It's just he chooses not to.
Can you pull up the load just while we're having this conversation? Because I just want to see the difference, because I'm sure there will be one. You see that?
That's far more spread out.
Different. And then he has a lower SOFA score. I mean, these scores don't matter, but just look.
That's
like, it's so different. So you can see, obviously, in defense where he is, in an attack where he is. He's on the right wing. He's pushing up. He's being in the position he needs to be. Luke Shaw is not doing that, man. He's not doing it.
No, and that's the other thing I've noticed as well. I'm assuming this here is where his defensive box was in the first half.
Yeah, no, well, not even in the first half. It's because it always runs left to right. So these are his positions, whatever side he's on.
Okay, but you see little heat maps in here where he's actually coming to the box, whether it's in attack or defense, to actually cover. So he's doing the job, for the most part, doing the job what Ten Hag expects of his wing backs, full backs, whatever you want to call them. And Luke Shaw is literally, he's lumped here, and a little bit of yellow, a little bit of taken up position in those other corners. But Dallo is, I don't know, he's probably not the right guy, but he's definitely the better guy out of all of the options we have. And honestly, someone was saying, I forget what was it, you who said Tellez would probably be better than Shaw at this moment. I don't know why he didn't play Malacia, but I could see Tellez doing a job. That's revisionism at its finest.
We would have been better today. We would have been better today with, I don't know. I see the problem with Luke Shaw is like, he should have, he's a better player than Tellez. And we should be better with Tellez than with Tellez. We should be better with Shaw than Tellez. Sorry.
Yeah.
But we're not. And it's weird, man. Like go back to Shaw just for 1 second so I can show the contrast as well. Sorry to kind of make you jump around.
That's fine.
He's only on the byline a little percentage of the time. The only time he's on the byline is when he's taking corners, because he takes corners. That's the only time. If you look at Delo's, I'm not gonna make Josh keep jumping through hoops, but if you pay attention to where Delo was, he had 2 points on the heat map where he's on the byline constantly. He's on the byline, and that's where we see you. Yeah.
No, what I see here, right, and what this tells me for his progression, he will make his, like, especially up here, like, just say, going left to right, he makes his runs, and then he'll lay the ball off where this cursor is sitting. Yeah, he'll lay the ball off, and then he'll stop and either sit as a left midfielder or slowly make his way back to where obviously he spent the majority of his time. That's nowhere near good enough. That is literally the opposite of what is needed. And that makes it difficult for Rashford, because he'll need to track back, or he will have to maintain a deeper position, and so on and so forth. Players being deeper when we need to be overloading the box in the way that Ten Hag wants. So this whole thing, you could go player by player. Honestly, I could, but I won't. But if we look at Martinez here, he's been all over the place, but he's taken up his left-sided centre back position. Maguire. Okay, quite similar actually.
No. It's totally fine. This is the problem though. When the left backs don't push up, then they end up, Maguire and Lisandro Martinez should be. You see the red spot for both of them. Even go back to Lisandro real quick.
Yeah, it's fine.
They look pretty much identical. I mean, there's some out there. What they should be though is 10. Those red spots should be 10 yards higher. Both of them.
Exactly.
They should be up on the halfway line. They're not. And why they're not is not because of the center backs. It's because Shaw is not pushing up. So like, right. Actually, let's do this real quick. So look at Lisandro Martinez and go look at Shaw. Go look at Shaw. So he has more of a red spot there because up front he doesn't have as much. There's less up there. Now go look at Maguire's. Okay, so we have that. So there is way more for Lisandro out on the wing, like further back. Now go to Delo. Yeah. The reason why Maguire has less back here is because he's actually getting up the line and he's getting back. The reason why Lisandro has so much more to do at the back is because Shaw isn't pushing up. It's counterintuitive because you would think, well, Shaw's in that position, so why should Lisandro need to go out to the wing? It's because you're not defending or you're not attacking correctly. So we're not defending correctly. Like he's such a myth, bro. I'm sorry.
He's quite an, as you said, he's an enigma, and not in a good way. It's like he's taking up, like, if you're looking at the heat map alone, you didn't see the performance. It's like, okay, he's taking up the right areas of the field, but it's the overall play that is nowhere near what's needed. Like, if I want to go for a bit of context here, looking at the wingers, for example, you see Rashford, he actually, he was tracked back, but he's also playing through the center. Now he was sort of the 9 for the second half, wasn't he? Like he was playing in the striker role intermittently. And if I move over here to Jadon Sancho, see, look at this. I'm trying to get a point across here. I'm just not quite wording it right. Basically, you're seeing them not being, well, they're basically being in the positions where they should be. If I go to Marcus Rashford, they're here in these little pockets right on the corners, waiting for the overlap, right? That's how I would expect Luke Shaw and Dallo to lay the ball off and for them to make the overlap run as the option, right?
What,
So
100%.
here,
Yeah. No, 100%.
As I was saying, Luke Shaw on that stopping just on the top side of the just on the opposition half. So to me, that indicates exactly what you were saying, is that their job is to push and pin back the fullbacks and the wingers to create that overload. So Martinez and Harry Maguire should have been sitting on the halfway line, or even the opposition side of the kickoff circle.
Yeah, you even then go up to, even then we're gonna start looking into this. Go look at where is Fernandez? Where's his heat map? He is not playing a striker. We do not.
No, he's everywhere.
He's everywhere, and in all the positions he doesn't need to be, dude. And he's got selfish score 7.2. He's all right. Player.
This is what people accuse him of. His stat padding. This is exactly what they mean, I reckon.
It's not. He's not anywhere. He's nowhere where he needs to be. Look at Christian Eriksen, by the way. It gets even worse. Look at where Christian Eriksen needs to go. He was playing basically a false nine. Look at where his heat map is. He's playing in his own. He's playing in his own third because Bruno is so incapable of picking up the ball and progressing it.
You will also find
in the 11th minute. I was calling this out. I was saying he has to come back and dictate play. Because Scott
McTominay was in this patch right here where the cursor is. That's where McTominay should have been playing. McTominay, Fred. But he wasn't, so Eriksen had to drop back and take over, take the initiative.
Let's go to McTominay real quick, and we could point out where he was playing.
Do we have to?
He was playing. He was playing in just above. Just above the circle there. Go to just below the circle.
Oh, just here.
He was playing all the way up here. It's like, bro, we need you to be helping Fred progress the ball. That's what we need from you. And you're running. You're basically playing second striker for whatever reason. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand in your head what's happening. And this is where my criticism of Ten Hag comes in. You can take Fred off. Fair enough. But Scott, come on, leaving Scott on. I don't.
That was criminal.
It is. It's actual injustice. It just is like.
But yeah, I'm trying to take a sort of a critical approach to this. You can't really do it because the emotions sort of cloud what logic. Like I'll probably sleep on it, come back to it tomorrow, have another look, and maybe have a different take. But right now, it just seemed that even seeing it from TV, like we could see in the small moments, Fred had the ball, he's looking for someone. Where's McTominay? He's hiding behind a player. So Fred had to then recycle the ball back to Martinez, to Maguire, to Shaw, whoever was back there with him, and that didn't make any forward momentum. And that's everything about Ten Hag's style. It's all forward momentum. You all need the interchanging of play. This is where Eriksen had dropped back and he's trying to take the ball off him, and all of a sudden we're one attacker down. Bruno is who fuck knows where in the midfield, in the defense, in whatever. And it was just a big melting pot of madness. And something has to change for next week. I want to see, for me, I want to see, I'd like to see Bruno and McTominay out. I'd like to see Eriksen come back into the midfield three and have Donny in there as well. So Fred screening the back, have the two of if you want to call them the 2-8s, and not really play with a 10, and then have a front three. So Sancho, Rashford, Martial might be okay for next week, from what I understand. I could be wrong, but that's how I'd like it next week, because this was nowhere near good enough. And if Maguire isn't benched, or at least stripped of the captaincy or something, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this, because it's become, and I know it's only game week 1, but it's like, this is exactly what every United fan was afraid of. And a lot of people getting overgassed where you and I, we seem to have had the reasonable level head throughout the preseason, but we always had this inkling that the other shoe was going to drop, and they will just revert to type, and boom, here we are.
Yeah, no, exactly, and a lot of the issues. I'm going to turn my attention to Ten Hag, and I'm going to be very inquisitive about the way that we actually start playing.
Mm.
Today was not a day. It's a day to criticize Ten Hag. It is not a day to judge him because the team didn't even try to play.
And that's the thing.
We have 4 yellow cards.
Yes.
Which means that we were playing a low block today. From what I saw, we were playing like a block today, and we still have 4 yellow cards. Absolutely no excuse for it. Ten Hag made a lot of bad decisions, and the only thing I will say is just on the basic note, City pressing. Sorry, I'm getting a little distracted. With Tony and our team today, we have an outlet.
Yeah.
Without Tony, we don't. Cristiano is not an outlet. He's shit.
No.
He's shit in build-up play. He's absolutely dreadful. But I can't excuse Ten Hag for Harry Maguire, Scott McTominay. I mean, Luke Shaw. Like, there were 3 substitutions that should have happened at halftime. And I understand that he's trying to do something. He's trying to not ruffle feathers, but I mean, this is
an interesting point by Twisted here, actually. I mean, I feel like I'll just take this one quickly. I'll get it over to you. But see, Tellez, when he arrived, he had this very sparkling reputation as being, almost a complete fullback. Not super defensively proficient, but very, very, very attack minded. Has a good ball on him, decent turn of pace. He came with sparkling reviews. So Shaw's like, okay, finally, someone I actually need to up myself for. Malacia is quite an unknown, and I'm not sure how much Luke Shaw knows about him, but it's like he's young. He's from Eredivisie, so there's not like it's not like the world was going after him, for example. So, maybe he just thinks he's safe. Maybe he's just, I don't know, maybe he's in the same PTSD as all of us are. So I don't know what you think.
No, I mean, Malacia is a better player, so play him. This league thing is such nonsense. That's not how it goes. Also, how long Malacia hasn't played in the Premier League, I just find it I always find it funny. And then I'm not just talking about Malacia. I'm saying Malacia hasn't played in the Premier League, so we probably shouldn't play him yet. Well, he's never played in the Premier League until he's played in the Premier League. So how long do we not play him? I don't.
No, that's right. You can't get a job without experience, but you need experience from a job. It's the same basic concept here.
He's shown me everything in preseason. He has weaknesses, but in every shape or form, he is better than what we have. I don't. Yeah, and he's played enough with the team. I think you'd agree, Josh. I think he's played enough with the team to know what to expect.
Yeah. But this was the point I made in my my pre-match stream, is that throughout the duration of the preseasons, we saw gradual changes to what I think Ten Hag would have had as his starting 11, and all of a sudden, game week 1, he's gone against that. That's the way I viewed it. Like, McTominay was actually not being featured in the last couple of games as heavily as he was in the first few games of the preseason, and my lineup was quite similar to this. I would have, but I didn't know Sancho was playing. I would have had Alenga on that wing, but then I had the midfield 3 of Fred, Bruno, and Eriksen, and then I would have had Martinez, Varane, and Dalot and Malacia. Would have been the team I would have selected if I was a manager, which I'm not. But that's how I think, because I feel like in this sort of disjointed spine that they now have, Eriksen and Donny, or Donny, Bruno, Eriksen sort of rotating in a that same position, and Fred sort of remaining as that screening, that nipping. You need some sort of middle line. So Martinez to Donny to Eriksen to whoever. Like, there needs to be this fluency. And as you said, in the back end of the game, we looked far more cohesive. We looked a lot better. The passing was while that Brighton went to a back 8, we still looked better on the ball with these players in there. And because they understand what the manager wants. They're the players he brought in. They know how to buy in. You need players to lead by example, not the same old shit that's let you down time and again. It's plain and simple.
Yeah, and I do think that there are some positives to take out the game. Christian Eriksen playing up front wasn't really what happened. It was Bruno and Scott playing up front somehow.
Yeah.
I think that must have been a direction from Ten Hag, which bugs me. But it was Christian Eriksen playing in the 10 rule, Scott pushing up much higher. And so I didn't have a massive issue. My biggest issue is that the directions probably didn't come across in the right way. Go ahead and bring up Rico. But by the way, thanks for tuning in, Rico.
Yeah, thanks for joining in, man.
Yeah, Martinez box to box, Donnie, Fred, Cam, Erics. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like in the future, I can see it. I think Ten Hag might be forced into situations. This felt a little bit like Ten Hag took a look at the squad and said, "Look, I'm going to play what the Premier League sort of like what like the template says I need to play." But then my biggest issue is that he didn't make the changes once he saw it wasn't going to work.
No, and that you watch United View, yeah, and you saw. Do you see the content with the
defensive Maguire and Varane? By the way, sorry, no, I'm sorry, but Rico just posted defensive Maguire and Varane. No, I don't think that. I think probably not even Varane. I've said this a million times. People are going to kill me for it because people don't rate it. But if we I know I'm so sorry, but I'm going for Martinez and Lindelof, and I'm pushing Diego 10 yards forward where he was kind of playing. He was trying to play today, but he can't do it unless Shaw does it. So you need Malacia and Delo, and you need Lindelof and Martinez. You just need it because that's the way that the system works. Sorry, Josh.
But that's that thing. It's that what I was just talking about. It's that having some sort of cohesive spine, even if it's disjointed. So Malacia, Martinez as your left-sided defenders, and then having a Donny in the middle or an Eriksen, or just having one person in a key position in each zone just to get the progression at the very least. As we saw in the heat maps, Dalot was taking up the right places. Luke Shaw was not. So what's the answer? You bring in Malacia, who will probably do the same job. We saw that in the preseason. So it frustrates the hell out of me that he's just made these, I guess, these massive changes. Yes, he wants to have a Premier League team, which is what he selected as you said, the template. But it's frustrating for me on a personal that he's gone against what actually progressed very nicely and was what we saw as the best 11 coming into the season.
No, I agree. Actually, this is amazing. Thank you, Rico, for tuning in. By the way, I'm an Ajax fan. United fans are gonna have to get used to extremely late subs, even though the game screams for it. I totally hear that, and that's what I heard a lot. By the way, Rico, from a lot of Ajax fans, and I'm okay with that. I not putting this on Ten Hag. I honestly believe that it's one of those things where he is going to play a certain lineup until he has evidence where then he can justify changing it. And it's annoying. And who just scored? KDB.
Well, it's doomed if you do and doomed if you don't.
Yeah.
Like, because I remember hearing on United View with the We Talk Ajax, and the guy there, Ajax, who was basically saying the exact same thing as Rico saying here, is that he's very stubborn because what has worked for him has worked, hence the trophies, hence the deep run in the Champions League, sorry. And unless it's something drastic like, a 4-0 drubbing at half time, he usually just sticks to what's been working. And, that could be the downfall, or it could be very admirable. It just depends on the players at his disposal, because I don't think this team is going to mold well with the way that Ten Hag operates as a manager, which is why he needs more of his players, more of his choice of players.
Yeah, so my biggest issue is that what he started with wasn't working.
Yeah.
which is kind of the disappointment. Yeah, we're gonna watch the City game, man. Like it's on. If you want to hop in Discord, you can hop in there as well and listen to both, or just participate here, and then we'll all hop across eventually. But
Yeah,
no,
we've got
like,
the jump off in about 5. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's super interesting because I've heard this from so many. Obviously, like you were talking about Ajax,
Mhm.
and Rico here. Like this is something that we do need to get used to, but it's more. Late substitutions are only really acceptable when the team is at least doing certain things correctly. And when it
Yeah.
comes to Ajax, their team might be losing. There might be something wrong happening, but in general, when I've watched them, the team is actually functioning.
Yeah.
Right? If you go back through this stream, we talked about how the team wasn't functioning at all. Luke Shaw
Yep.
was not pushing up high enough. He was actually affecting the Low's ability to push up because he was so far back. His heat map is basically on the corner of our 18-yard box.
Exactly.
And then you have Maguire doing fuckery as he always does. You have Lisandro trying to cover. People are going to clip Lisandro's mistake today. It wasn't a mistake.
Yeah.
He's covering for Harry Maguire, who's coming out of position and not picking up his man. And Lisandro almost gets to the ball when he has no right to do so. It wasn't even bad play. Lisandro had one mistake today, and it was around the halfway line where he misjudges where the ball is going. The guy turns on him and he pulls him down. Perfectly fine. That's a professional foul. You should be doing that. Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire, Scott McTominay, get the hell out. My biggest issue with Ten Hag today, he takes Fred off before Scott. I don't get that. That was outrageous.
Yeah, the stubborn factor, as I say, I think it could be the undoing in the long term, but it was okay for Ajax because 9 times out of 10 they would win their games and not have too many troubles. I mean, you come up against Feyenoord, PSV, they were a bit more of a challenge type of games because they're all the sort of the same teams up the top of the ladder there. Now, the play style that Ajax were employing, as I was saying, they were winning the majority of their games, and it would be just the odd result where they might have a 2-0 loss or something, but that's just the volatility of the nature of the style of play that they have. So, trying to, he needs to have some level of adaptation. Obviously, he did well bringing in Steve McLaren because he knows the league, he knows the club, and that sort of thing helps, but you need to actually listen to these guys and implement it into your team and into your coaching methods. I think it's still very promising. It's this aftermath that is really weighing me down and being overly critical of the match itself, but it deserves it because the players were shocking and Ten Hag's choices were appalling. Hopefully he bollocks them. Hopefully they wise up, and hopefully there's a few key changes that will actually propel a performance out of them next week. Because after Brentford next week, we've got Liverpool, and if we play like that, it's going to be another 4-5-0. And I can't stand to watch that.
Our fan base can't do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a very good comment. I think Lisandro and Delo played well. Eriksen isn't at his normal level, but you can see the vision and quality, and that is exactly what Josh and I were. We've been talking about this for months. I mean, everyone who's watched Eriksen knows what he is. He's not like super physical. I mean, he's definitely not a physical specimen in that way, and he's definitely not he's what he is creative vision and passing. Like that is Eriksen.
Yeah, and he looks after the ball as well. He's exceptionally press resistant. Not so much today because he was doing the work of other people, which makes it very difficult to see the best of him come out.
Which is why what we were pointing out earlier was after that first 10 minutes, he started dropping back and playing the Frankie de Jong rule because he's like, no one's going to progress the ball if I don't. No one's going to be able to do it. Because Scott McTominay is playing like hugging Bruno as strikers for whatever reason. I have no fucking clue why they're all the way up there. But I mean, it gets to a point. I mean, Ten Hag could have even shouted from the sideline, be like, yo, Christian, please just take control of the game. and we looked better the moment he started doing it. It wasn't good enough. It was all bad. But what was I going to say? When it comes to like looking after the ball and making the right decision, when Jaden steps back, Bruno moves into or like switches over to the left or into the striker role. Then you see Bruno step onto the right wing. What does Bruno do every time he's on the right wing? He picks up the ball off of Fred or McTominay and he just spams across. Instead, Delo has a clear run on the outside and he crosses it every time instead of laying it up. It's so it's so
being 30 seconds ahead of everyone. I'm here going, he's overlapping, and he just pinged it looking. I think he was looking for Ericsson or something or Rashford at that point.
It was Rashford.
He whizzed it wide. It was
the wrong decision, and he does it every time.
Exactly.
The reason why it sticks in our head is because Rashford had the opportunity to score, and by the way, Rashford should have had 2 today, but at least should have had 2. But it's still the wrong decision. Just because it almost resulted in a goal, it's still the wrong decision. It's ridiculous. Will Ten Hag beat Frank de Boer's record at Palace? No, he won't. You
troll. Nice one. All right, look. I've enjoyed that. I'm actually going to jump off this. I'll jump in with you for the City game for a while, see how they go. But I think we'll leave it there. I didn't want to leave it too long. But all in all, in summation, it was another poor performance. Hopefully, Ten Hag sees the light and actually makes some necessary changes. And I don't know, let's these assholes go and do fucking 50 laps at the start of every match. Every training session, because there needs to be some accountability. I want Maguire out of the team. I want McTominay out of the team, and let's pray that Martial comes back next week, because Ronaldo, he did nothing when he came on. 1 or 2 decent passes, but
my FPL in the mud. Holland,
same.
And got a pen, and Holland scored. So there you
go. I think I've got De Bruyne in my midfield now. I changed it last minute. I think he's got an assist already, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet.
Well, yes. Holland got it, but yeah.
Yep. All right, cool. Jess, thanks for joining me, man. Twisted, thanks for joining the comments. Rico.
Cheers, man.
Big up, man. Thanks for coming over. And Patrick jumped in the first comment right here at the start. So that's big up from him. This has been Josh, MUFC, Guy Jesse. I'll put it that way. Jesse from Talk Football. And you want to head over, Talk Football 92 in the search bar. There's me, Jesse, Twisted's always in the comments, Anthony, Dan. We're all doing content pretty much every day during the week. So jump over there, give them a like and a subscribe, and we'll catch you later on. See you later, guys.
Cheers, boys.